The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence.
The following is a presentation. Another race on the triple bypass Nichols Oil's Pros Cup Series schedule takes us to the cornfields here in Des Moines, Iowa, or so Newton to be more specific. The newly updated and semi-repaved surface will face a new set of challenges for these drivers as they tackle the nuances here on iRacing, and we are happy to bring you the coverage. Welcome everyone to PTR TV for today's race. It is presented by Brian Cooper. It is You'll soon see the title of it. I'd rather not say it on air. 175. A little bit backwards here today in terms of a booth. This Brad is going to be pushing the buttons and doing all the production-y stuff, along with giving you some color commentary, and I will be doing just some commentary here today. Gotta love Windows resets. So, Brad, well, having fun doing my job yet? I don't know if you are, but either way, Iowa, I've never covered a race here on this updated configuration, so it'll be interesting to see how it races.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's a little bit different to be on this side of things. We'll see how my skills go, and here's what I've said is if anything goes wrong, we're still blaming Corey as always. That's how that works. With that being said, should be a fun night. Lots of good racing to come through. The right front has been the big talking point on the day, so that's kind of what I'm watching, and I think that's going to be really what sort of tells us the series is how it goes. This is going to be a fun track to watch, but if the drivers can keep the car cool, keep the right front cool, it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, that should be the case here. Obviously, the fixed custom setups that these guys do race under here in the series give their own set of challenges. Steve McClendon, again, our back-to-back champion, one of the admins here, did give us a little bit of heads up that fuel load should be about 60 or so laps. They have, I believe, 3 sets, maybe about 2 seconds of fall off. They did actually have to make some setup adjustments here, interestingly enough, because, Brad, some of the drivers were saying that there was too much difficulty with the setup, too many issues with it, so they actually had to go to the drawing board a day or two before the race.
Yeah, it's always interesting whenever you throw the setup out there and get things going, but then it gets kicked right back and you kind of have to rethink it. I always just think that's such an interesting, I don't want to call it a dilemma to find yourself in, but it's an interesting moment to sort of find yourself in when you don't really know what's going to happen here as qualifying is done and dusted on the night. Corey, I tell you what, this is weird, but here comes the PTR TV starting lineup. Yeah, I'm all the way thrown off being on this side today.
Hey, you act like you never produce. You produce on Wednesday nights, but I know the oval stuff's a little bit different for you. But Sean Bradley going to roll off from P1 in that Seaview radio car. Caleb Brown going to be rolling off in the outside front row. Then we have Dylan Freeman. Michael Hopkins going to be in the 4th position. And then rounding out our top 5, row number 3 is going to be Matt Parasini making a comeback tour here today, followed by Ty Bass, last week's winner. We go back to P7. We find Ben Harcum in the Popeyes Mobile with Timothy O'Connor. The Camry will roll off in 8th. And then rounding out our top 10, Matt Harmon. And then William Emmert. I can't tell from a distance if we're racing some ice cream here today, but he is in 10th.
Moving on from there, P11, it's the Corgi Ryan Hyatt with Ward Fisher in 12th place. P13, Elton Woo with Daniel Williams in P14. P15 will be Jeremy Brown with Jason R. Benson in P16. Don't know what the R is for him. P17 will be Donald Ristow, and then Alcoy the Boss Man, P18. P19 is Mark Herzog with P20 being Adam Shaw.
We have a very large grid today, 37 strong, and we'll go to 21st. Find Josh Corner with Zach Nerney, our elbows out driver, 22nd car in 22nd spot. Then we have the Cat, Derek Cat, and Tyler Ruelas here, who we still don't know how to say his last name properly. Maybe we'll drag him in and get that situated. Matt Robinson, 25th. Tex, the series sponsor, in 26th. And then we have Kyle Gresh all the way back in 27th, matching his car number. Steve McClendon, 28th. And then rounding out our top 30 is the Deuster. That's a new one. I just made that up on the fly. Kyle Dewey, and then Keith Handlin from 30th.
Moving on, 31st, Michael Seymour with Christopher Melton in 32nd. 33rd, Nicholas Deal. It's a big deal to see that Coke car so far back. And Matthew Alaka in 34th. Mark Jarrell, the Uncrustable car, in 35th. Naj John Crutchley, P36. And 37th will be John Barton on the night.
That is our race lineup here today. Our details of how our night is going to take place. 145 laps around here, 7/8 of a mile. Do the math. I don't want to do it. That is stage break on lap number 50. So we will make it there on a fuel stop. 3 sets of tires, 1 backup car. Again, the fuel stop with a 55% right around 60 laps. So they will certainly be able to go until that stage. But the tires, they might be screaming by the time we get there.
Yeah, the tires are going to be such an interesting situation to find us in here as we go, as we're still gridding here, still waiting on things to get going. Not sure what's happening here. Tex has asked us to mention here, Corey, that there's a 25% deal going on right now for Nichols Oil Pros running a 25% off deal. So if you're interested in that, be sure to reach out to Tex, check that out. Again, I run AMSOIL personally in my truck and absolutely love it. So let's see what happens here as we get going for the Corn Stars 145. I have to say it at least once. I guess it's an obligation for us to say it here, Corey. So I'll say it once.
Yeah, as I kind of joked with them earlier, the sensor kind of broke prior to us learning that. But our race details, our race keys to the race, rather, I didn't write these, but I think I can make sense of them. Save the right side tires, because that is what we were told. That will burn right off. Don't screw up your pit stop, which is always applicable, but whether green or not, we'll find out. And then keep your head and the tires cool. This is sort of a short track, sort of not. So you will, potentially have tempers flare. The groove is relatively narrow with the newly partial repave.
Yeah, there are 10 cars as well today getting the end of line, so it's going to be interesting to see how that handles. Lots of drivers love to give me background info, by the way, and I've already had several tell me that they're going to be saving through the stage. They're just looking to get through the stage out. So it's going to be interesting to see, once we get through the stage and out, how that second half of the race goes. That's the part that I'm really kind of interested to see how it goes through. Bets on cautions, I'm saying 4.
Well, we'll find out. We've heard that it's a difficult setup to drive. When we hear that, a lot of times these races get pretty interesting, but we'll find that out together. Coming off turn number 4 is the pace car, and into the safety of the pit road, the unnamed restart zone. Green flag in the air. Let's go racing from Iowa.
And it's
driving off into turn number 1. And, Sean Bradley getting that lead. Parasini sole possession of second. And then 2 by 2 beyond that, Brad. They got to keep in those 2 darkened lanes, 3 on exit. They get out there in that 20-year-old pavement, they're going to lose all grip.
Yeah, moving side by side, third place back. Pretty interesting to see here that Sean Bradley and Matt Parasini have taken off. Third place back there running along. Let's see how they handle here. But third place is really the big game. Texas Pete here feeling the heat from the Popeyes car of Ben Harkham, who's trying to work his way down low. I like seeing the 2x2 working so well here around Iowa. We'll see if that continues to be the story. But as the tires die off, it's going to be easier said than done, that's for sure.
Iowa still, even with the partial repave, they claim that they didn't have enough aggregate. By the time they announced the Cup race here, the aggregate company didn't have enough to do the whole surface, so they had to pick and choose where to do it. That's the story, and they're sticking to it. I don't buy it, but they still have the progressive banking, so that middle lane does have more grip than the bottom, so you will see a little bit of that come into play here. But Parasini seems to be the faster one at present, and he's looking a little bit lower into turn number 3, right on that white line. Now he's in the dirty air. See if Sean Bradley can hang on.
Yeah, as we go, I'm watching Caleb Brown, and I was really watching Caleb Brown because he was falling down the order, but now Caleb Brown managing to get up into the wall. Some heavy right front damage there as he came together with, I believe that was Ward Fisher, who he took a little bit of a tap to. No, that was Timothy O'Connor. And now Caleb Brown back behind Jeremy Brown. Not sure if there's relation, but Caleb Brown dropping well down the order and continuing to fall here as we go 3 wide across the front stretch. Everybody trying to work their way around.
Right, if I'm going to give you a little tech tip now. If you switch the ticker to like lap time, switch it back. It's a little out of order here, but these are nuances here that I usually know to take care of in the background. But they're still side by side. Caleb Brown all the way up to the top of the racetrack in that the very edge of that groove, and he will get himself sorted right here back into line. Not going to use the drop down box. Little doodads here in the background. But you can see Caleb Brown there in the background. And who is that? That's the 35. I think Daniel Williams just behind Nerney. And Nerney looking to the inside, taking a dive. And Caleb Brown really going to the edge of that grip, kind of questioning that line. Doesn't seem to be working for him.
And not working at all for him as he goes. Up front here, what is working is Matt Parasini. He's worked his way up to the front here in the PT-RTV car. Sean Bradley in that Seaview radio car behind is going to try to keep a run. And then Ty Bass in third place, a place that, well, he's pretty familiar with. We'll see if he can move his way forward. Hopkins, Harkham round out our top 5 as they come through into lap number 9 of 145 laps here tonight around Iowa, trying to get to stage lap 50.
Now, a race that could be pretty short. I mean, this could only be 50 some odd minutes if we finish this under green, and we only have one caution again to be guaranteed on board here with Ty Bass. And you can see the straightaways, if anything, they're bumpier than the corners. This is that 2007 era pavement, and now we're onto that fresh pavement. It's still a little bit of bumps to it, but what it does offer is plenty of grip, except when you have those little transitions, Brad, you go from grip, 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 right to that old pavement, kind of causes the car to get a little bit free.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch and kind of see how the drivers handle that through. I hadn't even thought of it. I mean, obviously you can look at the track, you can see the repave, you know it's fresh pavement, and you kind of do that thought in your head, but I hadn't even really looked and thought about the fact that, you know, you transition onto old to new, and it can, yeah, I hadn't thought of all the nuances, but as you watch, it's going to be interesting to sort of see, especially as we've already been told this setup transitions to being pretty tight, and you have to really balance the tires. So as we watch things go through, it's going to be interesting to watch how the drivers handle that here. As Matt Harmon's trying to get around the Corgi down the inside, not able to clear him, but he's going to go for it here through 3 and 4. Let's see if he can hold on this pass. And no, it looks like right now he's still stuck side by side. So a lot of good side by side racing here at Iowa as well.
Yeah, this is still standard Iowa. So as I said, the flatter banking on the bottom, you know, that middle groove, if you can get it to work, you're going to have more speed, and you just can't get too high into that older asphalt to the top. And Hyatt is hanging on for now, and dedicated to that inside is Harmon, running a little bit higher. And just ahead of that, we're side by side with Harkham. He is battling with yellow automobile. That there is Timothy O'Connor there, so Harkham will succumb to that 6th spot. And you can see there on the ticker, Parasini out to a half second after 14 laps. Just looking at some of the lap times, we're already down 0.4 on the stopwatch.
Yeah, it's really impressive to me to sort of see where these lap times have hit as we pull these up on the left-hand side. Yeah, I mean, last lap times coming through, they're continuing along. I have a feeling that
no bueno. I know that car, I don't know it right now.
So that is Herzog, I can tell you that much.
There it is.
And I think Al Corey was involved in this one as well, as he is stationary in the infield. So let's see if we can.
It would not be a triple bypass race without good old Al Corey being involved in something.
All right, let's see if we can get a replay here of what happened. So that is up in the front of the field, so that's not it. Here's Herzog.
That's Emmert there. He got ice creamed.
Al Corey just got hooked in the mix.
I wouldn't mind seeing an on-board with Al there, if we don't mind. We can
absolutely
dial that up there, because he was kind of the meat in the sandwich here.
Let's go on board here with Al. See how this one happened.
Yeah, he thought he had it cleared till basically the absolute very end. It's very unlucky there for the boss man, but luckily they do have the backup car. Don't want to use it this early in the race, but better to have it than not have it at all.
Looks like he will have to use it though, unfortunately. Yeah, you said it best. Better to have it than not have it at all, and hopefully we're only 17 laps in, can keep his nose clean through the rest of the race and keep it going, which again is easier said than done here as we go through and watch along. Few guys opting to the pits here. I'm gonna guess these are guys that have picked up a little bit of damage from tapping a wall early on. Caleb Brown, one of the cars in. Let's see if that right front pops out here and gets repaired. Oh. What's he doing
I think
here?
he's trying to reset his pit cycle here, so maybe he didn't get that fast repair or get all of his service done. Sometimes if you back up by a pit stall, it re-triggers your pits and allows you to restart your stall here. That number 17 of Caleb Brown.
So the right front did pop out, so we do know that Caleb Brown uses fast repair there. So interested to see kind of how the drivers handle this from here, especially, I don't know, Corey, what's your take on that, using the fast repair, 18 laps into a 145 lap race? I mean, you do what you got to do, but it can't be ideal, right?
I mean, I guess ultimately it depends what kind of damage you had. If it is all aero-related damage, I'd say maybe you should have just sucked it up and waited for a caution. You do have at least one more guaranteed caution. Maybe you can get it fixed good enough. But I always point to a situation that I had racing with these same guys in one of their sub-series where I said I was going to wait till the next caution to get it repaired, and then I never had another caution, and I was detrimented the entire end of the race. So I guess it just puts you more on defense for the remaining 120 laps, just to go ahead and say, all right, I don't have a reprieve. I got to put my car in good, safe positions because I don't have a way out of it if something happens.
Yeah, coming up here on the 1 to green, it looks like Parasini has chose the inside here. So he is going to be looking to roll through. For me personally, I'm kind of with you on that one where I don't want to use it too early, but I also don't want to gamble on getting another chance to use it, especially, we're pretty far away from the stage here. We have 30 laps to the stage, so you got to kind of roll the dice with it, see what happens. And we'll see how the drivers do getting to lap 50 and then to the end.
Yep, exactly that here, but we'll come back to our first official restart of the race, and that 24 is going to have a bright white number 2 car to his rear view, and that's not something you want to see here. Ty Bass very good on these shorter tracks. Pace car is in and turn that unnamed restart zone. Barney has the flag on. The loud pedal is Parasini. Pretty decent jump even by Bradley to the top, but didn't quite clear Bass, so Bass will go right to second, but Bradley working that outside lane.
Everybody working through and along. Sean Bradley working back on Ty Bass around that outside line. Can he clear is going to be the $1 million question. And further back, while these two are duking it out, you can see just in the background of your screen, 3 wide, bumper to bumper, hard racing going through. They settle it out. Let's tune back in here around the back of the top 10 because that's kind of where I was seeing a little bit of the chaos start here, going back around the Matt Harmon, Matthew Robinson area. So we're going 2x2 at one point 3x3.
Yep, they're again staying within that blackened new pavement. Can't go all the way to the wall as we used to on the older Iowa. But good side-by-side racing. Somebody scraping the fence there even. Maybe getting a little bit too high there on the straightaway. Harmon trying to find something. And then you find that bright green and blue car. That's Steve McClendon. Remember, he didn't qualify too well, but he is trying to make his situation beneficial here. Maybe get himself some stage points. But just stuck on that outside, kind of gridlocked right now.
Yeah, as we see here, McClendon trying to run his way through. I mean, this is not a position I'd want to be in, as we have a battle up front in position for the lead. Sean Bradley, Matt Parasini side by side coming through as they go around here down the inside. Sean Bradley, Matt Parasini, the high side. They've got to watch the battle that they do here because Ty Bass is not that far away. They're in third, so as he goes through and around, Sean Bradley will pick up the lead here. Working that middle line, as you said, time and time again, Corey, it's paying dividends, and I have a feeling that some of the drivers are probably listening to you here in the background as we go through. Sean Bradley now picking up the lead.
Yep, and now he gets to have that full amount of clean air on the nose of his car, but these drivers, they don't know the first thing about clean air right now as we that pack we had in the back. And then who is that? I think O'Connor looking to make a move that underneath Michael Hopkins to move Timothy O'Connor into the 4th spot. But here comes the crossover from Hopkins looking down the back. Will he have a dive? Will he be close enough? He'll send it down in there. Whether it sticks, whether it's advantageous, we'll find out. Coming off of the corner, and it looks as though he will remain alongside, keep that position. Hopkins not going down without a fight.
Yeah, drivers are just really getting that side-by-side to stick and then just holding it. There's not really a lot of people just carving their way through the field right now. Then again, ask Steve McClendon how that's going as we go through, and you can see what happens if you get off of the black there. Ryan Hyatt going a little bit high in the Corgi, losing multiple positions now. Zach Nerney going to look for a move here down the inside, see if he can clear his way through, as Hyatt is going to hold that high line, hold that side-by-side. Yet again, tons of these side-by-side back-and-forth battles through the field. And again right here, Timothy O'Connor and Michael Hopkins again showing the example of that side-by-side. But the top two here, Sean Bradley, Matt Parasini, they've sort of taken off, and they're trying to pull out a little bit of a league of their own if they can. But they are still just right there to Ty Bass, and I have a feeling that there's a lot of guys just saving at this point because we're so early in this race still.
Now, 20 laps to our stage, but still early in the overall, outcome of the event here.
Ooh.
Still over 100 to go as somebody caused Brad to make an exclamation.
Ty Bass smacking the wall. That was not what I expected to see him do on the exit of 4, but he managed to clip the wall pretty well there and pick up some good right front damage.
Yeah, hopefully Iowa track that, not like a Martinsville where you can get away with it. We are, hitting some pretty high speeds here. I think maybe if we could pull our on board, maybe about 160, I would say, 150, something like that. So this is a high speed oval. And as we're on board with Nerney right now on the back straightaway, we're going to peak at about 150 even, but front stretch is a lot longer, so we may get closer to 160, down to about 120 middle of the corner, 4th gear. I don't know if they'll pop it into 5th. I know the setup might restrict that, but yeah, just indeed 159, about 160 miles an hour on a track that isn't even 1 mile across.
Yeah,
around, I should say.
Across around. I got what you meant there. So, yeah, there's some great battling going on through and lots of high speed to be found as these guys continue along. Checking up front here because Parasini's been slowly reeling in Sean Bradley yet again as Ty Bass has started to lose touch with them, but has also started to reel that back in. So I don't know what I'm talking about here every once in a while as we continue through and along. Just trying to look because it's genuinely anywhere you look on this track right now, there's a battle here, Corey. All the way from these guys up in the front, all the way back to P26 here. We've got Caleb Brown going side by side right now with Joshua Corner through a corner. And there's just the field is very close through. Benson right here going side by side with Donald Risteau with Hanlon and Crutchley here going through. I mean, you can genuinely pick a car, and they're probably in a side-by-side battle for position.
Yeah, good stuff. That's what Iowa's known for good competitive racing. I know the next gen didn't race too well here in the real world, which we could attribute that to many reasons, but even in this on iRacing does do a great job and allows you to get some good racing. The racetrack obviously helps that out. Harcum using that seam, and I'd argue a little bit too high, and that's certainly too high because that's scraping the safer barrier, and that allows McClendon to get to the inside and clearing for that 9th spot entering 1 and 2.
Yeah, McClendon able to make that move with the help of the wall. He might owe the wall a quick high five at the end of the race, just to thank you for that one position, if not more, as we continue through. Now the field is starting to get a little bit more of a gap built in, but not that much here. As we check William Emmer, and I don't think this is an ice cream car. He has redone this paint scheme to have corn for Iowa. Okay, I'm upset now. I have nothing else to say.
It's Brahms? It's still Brahms. I mean, isn't that ice cream?
Mm-hmm. It is Brahms, and
is it Sherbert now?
I don't have the best camera angle to show this here as we go through, as he's going side-by-side battle. If we go down to the chopper, I mean, you can... All of that yellow is corn on that car. Let's go
corn
off
cream.
the back of the 52.
Oh, corn cream on the... Never mind. Let's backtrack on that statement.
I kind of caught where you were going with that one. Anyways, with that being said, yeah. I mean, if we look off the back here, yeah, that is all corn. You know what? Everyone knows the fun sound. It's corn, a big lump of knobs that has the juice. Can't imagine a more beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm done there. Anyways, back to the racing action here. Pericini right on the back of Sean Bradley here as they continue to battle.
Yeah, battle for the lead, hot and heavy right now. Berrettini digging through the dirty air, and obviously Bradley's car maybe doesn't have that long run power to it, as we're about 15 or so laps into this stint, but now only 10 laps away from the stage. Ty Bass is still in third, and top 3 running lap times within about half a tenth of each other. They are all under a blanket here. This 23.1 bracket is kind of the popular bracket everyone has the speed for, but now Pericini fighting with that dirty air, but he's dedicated to that same line, right painting that white line. Makes you wonder, maybe there's something up top. I don't quite know, but there's a little bit of traffic ahead. I can't quite make out who that is. Perhaps Alaka, the first person to go a lap down, but that'll put some dirty air on Sean Bradley's car. And in the fence is that lapper.
Ooh, that is Alaka, and look at the swerve off to get away from Alaka there, as Alaka is going to just hold the wall like nobody's business. Yeah. I mean, that's a way to do it there if you want to stay out of the way of the battle.
Oh, here's Pericini.
Sets it up here. So we're going to go inside Pericini. Pericini looking for stage points today against Sean Bradley. Let's see if he's saved enough here to get to the end, 8 laps to the stage, and see if they get stuck in the side-by-side run or if they can actually work things out here. And watch Ty Bass. Ty Bass starting to reel them in as they go side-by-side, and Pericini clears off of 4. New leader, Matt Pericini, 7 laps to the stage.
Yep, and we'll see if Pericini can drive off into the distance. I'd imagine probably so, because Bradley was struggling. Now Bradley will struggle, and to add to that, he'll have some dirty air on the nose. And Ty Bass, through all that side-by-side, through that battle, he didn't gain at all, but you could see he's trying that alternate lane. He's trying that middle groove to see if he can find something, but he's still found some more walls. So obviously he's going to be looking forward to a fresh set of good years and about 7 or so laps here. And it does appear he's closing in a little bit on Bradley, as Bradley is pulling the parachute out here once he's gotten past.
Yeah, I know that they're going to be looking a little bit of time here as they go. It's just a matter of what did you save to get to the end here, which some people I think have more than others, as we watch Ty Bass continue to reel in Sean Bradley. Gap now 0.3 of a second as they
Caution.
go. That is Matt Harmon.
Now, this will be very interesting with the timing if this intercepts the stage or becomes the stage, or if we get a one-lap shootout. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Everybody's stacked up here off of turn number 2 here at present. Didn't see any significant issues here, but we'll queue up our replay and try to sort out what has brought our second caution of the race out.
I don't actually have any direct triggers on it, but I believe it is this.
We got loose all the way down the inside, hospital wobble, and a harmless spin dead center in the middle of the racetrack. Usually you don't say harmless spin and in the middle of the racetrack in the same sentence.
We also missed, it looks like Ward Fisher having to tow, so I don't know what happened to Ward Fisher, but this was about 10 laps ago. Oh, nothing.
Close to the inside and just abruptly parked.
Toes through.
Didn't want to wait 15 seconds and just park it in the pits, but I don't know.
I don't know either here, as we'll go back to live pictures here from Iowa, as pit lane is a very, very popular place.
Yes, and I would imagine that this would intercept the stage, but there's a chance that it comes out at the exact moment. We'll find that out in a matter of moments here, depending when the pace car does its thing. But everyone's coming out of pit road. You can see Melton there with a 7.9 second pit stop. Interestingly enough, is that I can't 2 tires. So he's going to be banking on the fact that this is going to be like a one-lap shootout.
That is an interesting strategy. Yeah, that's bold. We'll see how it plays out. But I figured, too, because we're looking at about 55 laps of fuel for everyone. So I kind of figured everyone would just go ahead 4 tires fuel, and then just, if this is going to be like a one-lap shootout to the stage, just run that one-lap shootout, be done. So interesting to see that Christopher Melton decided to not do such a thing here. We'll see. He has not done the spreadsheet, I believe.
So that would imply he's a newer driver, or just he must be a newer driver because that name doesn't ring too many bells. So obviously not going to be going so much for points, but I mean, we'll see how it works. There are times where the 2-tire strat does work. If it's a one-lap shootout, I'd be a little confused why you'd make a stage points call when you're not racing for points, but that's rather here nor there. Let's see what happens. I do assume, Brad, that this actually is going to intercept a stage. No, I think we're going to have a one-lap shootout.
Well, one-lap shootout should be fun. We'll see how it plays out here. Parasini and Sean Bradley. Parasini had a 1 second slower pit stop than Sean Bradley, which put him out behind. He's going to have 1 lap to get it together and get back in front. We'll see if he can do so. I don't think, if he doesn't get him right off the unnamed restart zone, I don't think he's going to have enough time to wind that car up and really go for a challenge. But I've been proven wrong once. We'll see if I'm proven wrong again.
Yeah, I think for the best thing for Parasini is the fact that Melton's to the inside, so it'll be harder for those 2 tires to fill in the gap and take that second position. So Parasini should be okay, but he's going to do the best he can to time that restart perfectly, and let's see if he can do just that. Pace car pulls on into that restart zone, and you can see the stack up, the timing attempt, but it did fail. There goes Bradley, and can Parasini clear for second here as we have 1 to go for the stage?
And as we go through here on this 1 to go, it is going to be basically Christopher Melton is a cork in a bottle here. Look at this. Everybody going to try to get around him as he goes here. As Ty Bass tries to get around Parasini to the outside, but Sean Bradley will bring it around for the stage points, and everyone behind else is jockeying for position here. And there's the stage call. Oh, no!
Oh, no, Melton and Tex. Melton had a modest bit of airtime there, and Tex has expired his engine. in some kind of post-caution hoopla.
I do not know how that happened. Let's find out together. So this is what I've got coming up.
What in the heaven's name?
We're going to do something you hate, Corey, and this is just because I'm trying to figure out exactly what
That's
happened
fine.
here. So that is post stage lap.
But the caution, I don't know if the caution was out at that point, or it was. They may have been green, but Melton may have already reacted to the fact that he expected the stage. So I'll give a little bit of ambiguity to that as to, yeah, you can see there the lights are still green, and
So
there's
they
the
just
yellow.
turned caution there when it cut to Tex.
Holy. Did Tex have the reaction time of
I don't
Grandma
think he had enough time
on
to react to
melatonin?
anything. To be honest, I'm going to do one more on board here with Tex. I don't think Tex had enough time to react to anything if we're going to analyze this one down. So this is on board with Tex going through. So he's battling it out. We're still green. We're still green. Right there's the caution.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to give Tex the benefit here. A car on the fence like that, I would not expect to roll low and roll down the track like that. Maybe that's just me. Maybe
Gravity
that's just
doesn't
me.
support your opinion.
That's also valid, but
it is what it is. Is the ultimate summation of the events. But this is the stage, so the point does go to Mr. Bradley in that number 77 Seaview Worldwide Radio. I don't remember the manufacturer of it, but they were, I think that was his mom and dad's radio company out of Canada. And
correct.
I know they did some cool oldies and podcasts and events and all that whatnot, free station. And you can listen to it online, even though it's not his sponsor of the event. The actual sponsor of the event is Coop, who is running in a position that I don't see on my pylon right now.
He is not running, but we'll give him all the love anyways.
We'll give him all the love except for the title, right?
Yeah, you know, the title is interesting, so we'll give him a break on it, though.
But we always appreciate those, of course, driver donations and driver choices to help out and sponsor individual events. They get the power to, get their logo and, do what they want to do with the event. And it always...
it is his character in the top right, too. I will give him that. So it's kind of interesting to see him use the admin character of him being
I guess the question is, who is the other person and why are they surprised? Because one could imply that is there permissive activities upon the events occurring? The surprise would make you think other things. So my mind stretches to levels that it should not, but it will coerce back to the play at hand here, which is a restart, Brad, on lap 56.
And as we come around here to an unnamed restart zone for the upteenth time here, I've already lost count, is why I say upteenth. We're back green here. Sean Bradley with an absolute beautiful jump there. Ty Bass will get around Parasini to the inside, it appears, as we get going here. Parasini coming through into third, and we continue this along as we keep things moving and grooving here to get towards this lap 145 to the end.
That battle into the end. We'll have at least one guaranteed pit stop, but two on offer here with the two available sets of tires that these drivers still have in the pits here side by side. And this gives us the opportunity to really figure out what kind of strategy are these guys going to drive. Are they going to go full bananas? Well, it looks like Hopkins is going to go full bananas. He's going to drive underneath Jeremy Brown, who name we haven't spoken of really today, but McClendon, who started, I believe, somewhere in the 20s. Look at him knocking on the door of a top 5 right now.
Yeah, and that is, what you want to see is everyone continues through. McClendon here running in a great position as he continues along. Again, Mr. Two-time Cup champion. I love that as he continues through. Parasini here in a great battle as he goes through. Jeremy Brown, Michael Hopkins in the mix. And the more you just kind of look up and down the field, again, we've hit that position where everyone's battling as Sean Bradley playing the ultimate Houdini game here today. You can't pass what you can't see is what they always say. So Ty Bass going to be under some pressure here. But remember, we still have to get to lap 145. You don't win it on lap 60. You win it at lap 145. So still a little bit of tire saving needs to come in.
Yeah, absolutely the case here. And you don't want to overuse the tires too much, maybe force yourself into an early pit stop, and then that just throws your whole race off. Maybe you have to make another one. But here comes Ty Bass using that outside lane. We haven't seen the outside lane go for a lead pass here today, scraping the fence again in pure Ty Bass fashion, but still has the run. He's going to drive it on in there, right on that seam, right on that grip seam. See if he can get the run off of the exit. Has the banking to his avail, but Bradley got a good bite down there, and here comes Jeremy Brown to try to fill the gap into the inside. 3-car battle for the race lead.
3-car battle here, and it's not going to let up anytime soon. Sean Bradley yet again holding that inside, keeping Ty Bass high on entry there. Ty Bass running just right there, that middle line that is working so well, but it doesn't work when you keep hitting the wall. So I don't know if Ty Bass is doing that on purpose or if that's an accident, but he's done it enough now that I have to think it's a little bit more than accidental as we go through. And another lap down, and now look at this. Jeremy Brown's going to start putting pressure down the inside, side by side. That's a great move.
Yeah, that was an absolute forceful move in there, and a little bit of contact perhaps to the left rear. Jeremy Brown going full send and busting out the biceps there to show who's boss right now. And that number 46 side-by-side at the stripe. But let's see if he does a power dive into the corner here. No, because Ty Bass is going to equal that move and remain side-by-side. And trying to clear is Jeremy, trying to clear. I think he'll get him this time. Ty's going to try to drive in there deep, and he will. He'll pull back door-to-door once more.
Keeping this battle more than alive here. It's a great battle here as we look at it from the blimp. And again, you can see these two are here. Sean Bradley's starting to open up a half-second gap, but the more Ty Bass keeps pulling Jeremy Brown back in, he's basically got the entire field on a string as he gets a great exit out of 2, going down into 3 now. You can see he's kind of just giving a little bit on entry to get that bit more on exit as they come through, and Ty Bass is just holding on yet again. They're not letting go as they continue along, and look at who's starting to work their way up the field behind. You've got Steve McClendon working their way up. You've got Zach Nerney. You've got Ben Harkiman Robinson that are coming through. I mean, you've got a lot of drivers that are poised to take advantage of any situation that happens between these two.
Yep, and side by side, it creates more tire heat, creates more tire wear, it creates more frustration. Namely for that number 46, because he knows, all right, I got something to play with. I got something to fight for. Bass probably thinks, if I can clear, I can fight. But they're both going for the same piece of real estate. It looked as though Ty Bass cleared for a brief moment, but now Jeremy says, nope, I'm not going down without a fight. He may have to relinquish. He will. Doesn't want to fight too long, because that'll get Parasini as someone spinning off to the inside there on the back of the shot. Who is that? They save it through the grass, and they still save it. That's Kyle Dewey, and he printed it out, but maybe need to print it out some instructions on how not to spin.
Seeing a Formula One reference in a NASCAR league is officially been one of the things that caught me off guard. As we're going to go back up front because Ty Bass has tapped the wall and has dropped down the order. I won't steal your thunder on your favorite line here, but now it's Ty Bass and Steve McClendon side by side.
I don't even know what my favorite line is, so you wouldn't have caught me off guard anyways.
Alicia Keys mode?
Oh, okay. I'm still trying to get my computer to boot up over here, so I'm a little bit distracted now. But they are side by side. Ty Bass, as hard as he's had to push on that outside lane, it wouldn't surprise me if he's overexerted the tires. A lot of times having to load up that car, sending it on in there extra deep, diving in really hard, that will abuse the tires, and wouldn't be surprising if that is indeed the case here. But Parasini taking a look underneath Brown to no avail. All the while, they are closing in on Sean Bradley, 0.2 of a second, maybe 2 car lengths at best, and it looks as though getting a run off of the corner. It looks like somebody is in front. What do we get going on? Ticker was changing there.
Sean Bradley is in
he was in
mode.
Yeah, he was in disappear mode, causing the ticker to go out. But somebody, Lapper, in front of our race leaders. Hopefully he doesn't cause any ill will.
I don't believe he will as we continue along here. These two continuing to battle, looking through the field, some other big battles that are happening just behind them. It's Ben Harkham and Elton Wu that are going against, you've got the top 9 all together. This is P10 and 11 battling it out as they continue along and continue to kind of watch through. Then you've got a bit of a gap through from there. You've got Matt Harmon, who is running P14 right now, with one Mr. Ice Cream Emmert through. Caleb Brown starting to work his way back forward, getting past Keith Hanlon, the pumpkin car, with the Corgi in the mix as well in P18, as that Texas Pete car is definitely starting to heat up here on the back half of this race. Again, we're in this situation where, depending on where you look on the track, you could pick out pretty much any name, any driver, and they're likely in a battle for position right now, as Hopkins is trying to get down the inside of Ty Bass here and trying to put Ty Bass in outside of the top 5 is Nerney.
We're wrecking. And it was a yellow car. O'Connor, who was having a good run to start the race, but that has now since turned into the outside wall, just now past the halfway point here in the race name 145.
Let's see here if we can get a good replay of how that one started. So this is Nerney coming through, and it looks like the car snapped.
Lost it.
Two
they
separate
both got
incidents.
loose.
Yeah.
Nerney put down some oil.
Yeah, so that was Nerney through, and then O'Connor was his own separate moment, which I was not expecting. Let's see here if we can get O'Connor's view of what happened. And it looks like for him...
Yeah, strange. It's very coincidental that 2 cars in direct succession both got loose completely independently.
Yeah, it's rare to see something like that happen, honestly. But now pit stops are going through here, and yeah, several cars taking advantage of the pit stop cycle here.
Yeah, I'd expect, well, actually, this is 20 laps after the stage, so 3 sets of tires to avail on the evening, and 70-something to go. This, I suppose, would be a good time to put the second set on. That gives you one more set to put on for the last 70 laps, so this is where those critical decisions have to be made.
This is honestly the make or break situation for a lot of guys with their strategies. And I kind of hate saying that, but that is really where we're at, is if they don't do it right, it's going to absolutely ruin their race. We'll see how it plays out here as everyone comes through. We continue to pace under caution and, you know, trying to get an idea of who's doing what here. Everyone from Kyle Dewey up did not pit. So top 10 staying out here on 31 lap tires.
Which is very interesting, and again, it'll work out to their favor if we get multiple cautions and late race hoopla to have that opportunity. But we saw how 2 tires was, and that didn't work out very well for Melton on that one restart, even with 1 lap to go. But we do have the summation of what happened at last week's event here. Of course, they do the weekly recaps here all the time in Triple Bypass, so let's have a little recap reminder of last week's race.
September 14th, 2025 brought the Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pros Series to Bristol Motor Speedway for a bruising 200-lap showdown on the high banks. The world's fastest half-mile lived up to its reputation, producing 5 leaders, 6 lead changes, and a hefty 14 cautions that slowed the field for 56 laps.
The 4th race of the season was sponsored by Dominic Zanobi and broadcast live by our friends at PTR TV, so the MBZ 200 was ready to kick off.
Ready for a spoiler? It was Ty Bass in the number 2 car who conquered the concrete Coliseum. Starting deep in 22nd, Bass worked through the chaos, led 41 laps, and sealed the deal by taking the checkered flag with 49 points.
Right behind him, pole sitter Sexy Waltrip was the driver to beat for much of the night. He commanded the lead for a staggering 136 laps, set the fastest lap at 14.7 seconds on lap 51, and walked away with 48 points. But despite all that, he had to settle for second, just 0.6 seconds behind Bass. 3rd place went to Steve McClendon in the 51. He did not lead a lap, but still put together a strong run, finishing just over 2 seconds back while picking up 45 points.
4th was Sean Bradley, who earned 43 points and kept himself near the front through the long green runs. Rounding out the top 5 was Brad Kress in the number 9, scoring 37 points in another consistent drive. The front half of the field showed just how tight Bristol can be when the laps wind down.
The most laps led went to Waltrip with that impressive 136 lap performance. But Bass's patience and late race moves were the deciding factor.
Yep, tonight belonged to Ty. From 22nd to 1st, he navigated traffic, survived 14 cautions, and closed the deal with a flawless stretch in the final laps. Congratulations to Bass and the number 2 team on a hard-fought Bristol victory.
We hope you enjoyed this Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pros Series recap.
We'll see you next time.
And we're back here after that race recap of the Corn Stars 145 here. Corey and Brad in the booth here on PTR TV, Triple Bypass Nichols Oil's Pro Cup Series. Lap 83 had our restart there, and as you can tell, the sun kind of came out, and just as we have a restart, we will quickly go back to yellow.
Kyle Dewey, what did he do? Well, let's find out really quickly here.
He went wee. Again.
Yeah, let's see here. Dial this one up really quick and get you a good idea. Ryan Hyatt, it looks like, has gotten a meatball flag as well. So let's see what happened here to the court.
What in the hell?
All right.
Hardware failure or a red turtle shell that missed?
I don't know, but that wasn't actually what our caution was for, I believe. As crazy as that sounds. So there was that. But that was not what our caution was for. So let me find out what happened with Kyle Dewey here. So this is what I've got showing. Let's see if this is what happened for Kyle Dewey. Was this just a solo spin? I believe it might have been.
Yep, I think that's Risto and
Roy Ellis. Also got hit there, so Tyler took a tags. Poor tags,
So that
man.
was a multifaceted situation there, to say it generically.
Yeah, that was an interesting one to see here as we get back going. Let's see how this goes here. Jeremy Brown in the lead here. As a result of that, it looks like a lot of our drivers who didn't pit last pit cycle pit this pit cycle, starting from P12 on back. Emmert, O'Connor, Parasini, Sean Bradley, Steve McClendon, Hanlon, Hopkins, Harcum, Wu. I mean, yeah, a majority that if you're basically not top 9, you've now pit. But Matthew Robinson, I want to point out Matthew Robinson here because he's on 40 laps without pitting.
And is he keeping trend to that? Yes, he is.
Interesting decision there. I don't know how to feel about that one.
I'll tell you how I feel. I don't feel very good at all about it. Pit counter. So he's only pit once. So it's not like he pitted twice under cautions and he's behind on tires. So he is just saving the sets of tires. But we are at that pivotal point, Brad, and we talk about it frequently, where you need enough laps to be able to use the fresh tires. So if you're saving 2 sets of tires and you're not going to use them till very late in the race, you may not have enough time to actually get the good out of them.
Yeah, and I think that is the interesting part that you have to balance. And that's one of those things that it's easier said than done. And there's a lot of things in the booth, right? Like, let's just very clearly say this. There's a lot of things in the booth that are easier said than done, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn how to do them. It's one of those that it takes time, it takes effort, and everyone gets good at it as they go. It's just, you have to see what happens. Also, info in the background for Hyatt. Hyatt's computer decided to pull a Corey's computer, is what it sounds like, and decided to just not work for a second.
Well, I am on the verge of doing a full Windows reset, losing every single file at the current rate that we're going at right now. So hopefully he is not to that level of failure yet, but we'll hope for the best. Is he still in the session? He is not. So apparently, I don't know if there's a Windows update that's going bad, but it seems to have bitten him as well as...
Okay.
Brad, are you still on a replay? There we go.
There we go. We're back green. There we go. I was like, why am I showing green, but we're not green? No, we're green, and here we go. Things are wild, and that is Matt Parasini spinning in the background.
And who is that? McClendon. Still green. Hasn't triggered the caution flag yet. He is just dead broken against the front straightaway wall, but we remain under green, at least for the present time. Let's try to see where things currently stand here, but yeah, that will evade the caution flag somehow.
I don't know how, but okay, that's the way to do it here. Is Matthew Robinson is dropping down the order hard as we go through. That's the number 55 all the way up in the wall. That is Adam Shaw going high there. Yeah, this is chaos is what we've tuned back into there once we got back to a live picture that I didn't realize wasn't live for some reason. As we go through, Zach Nerney there in third, trying to get up into second. Ty Bass in the mix. I mean, okay, 3 wide in the background I see there. Is that around behind with Ben Harcum? I believe it was here. Okay, this is a different race than what we've seen the first 90 laps.
Yeah, right now, Jeremy Brown is our race leader by a little bit over Nicholas Deal. We got Nerney up front. So again, and then we have Ty Bass and Caleb Brown. Caleb Brown, he had a very up and down day. Adam Shaw in the mix in 6th spot. Good name. I don't think we've talked about him since the grid. Emmert O'Connor Bradley, who has been the mass leader here today. And then the 10 car is the number 10 and Michael Hopkins. That's running out our top 10 here as we close in on the century mark.
Crazy to think that we're closing into lap 100 of 145 here as we go through that 405 and that 119 continue to battle here in the battle for P7. Up front, Jeremy Brown is pulling up a pretty good gap here as it goes, about 0.3 of a second, but that is rapidly declining here as Ty Bass is going to try to sail it up the inside here on Nerney. Let's see if he can clear here on the exit. And Zach, I don't even think put up a fight there. I think he just let Ty Bass go and said, you know what, burn your tires out if you want. We'll deal with it later. Of course, Ty Bass pit 9 laps ago, Nerney 18 ago, so I think there's a little bit of time there as they are working their way through and around. They go down the inside of Nicholas Steele. Let's see how that goes and battles out near the end. Is back in the background, Sean Bradley, William Emert up dropping positions. I kind of can't get over that McClendon and that McClendon moment there didn't throw a caution.
Now Steve is trying to make out where he is right now. He is still on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap in the 28th spot, 17 seconds back. So he will actually need a caution relatively quickly, or he will be off of the lead lap. But looking up front, it looks as though less than 0.2 of a second. It looks like Jeremy Brown, his lead is under fire here by Ty Bass, who's trying to go for back-to-back wins here in the Nichols Oil's Pro Cup Series. And using that different lane, Zach Nerney, he had an interesting start to the race, but here he is in third on the same tire strategy as Jeremy Brown. Has older tires than Ty Bass even, and he's still hanging with him.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out here. Nobody can make it to the end out of this group we're looking at as far as I can do math and be aware of. So everyone here still has one more pit stop they need to make. So this battling is really important because they've got to be able to kind of calculate this out to get to the end and see where they can land here. So we go through, and that gap has stabilized at about 0.2. 0.2 to 0.3 as it goes. We'll see if it starts to close up a bit more as they continue along. You've got the top 11 here in a pack together, going all the way back to Ben Harcum. And then you see that big gap going back to Jason Benson, that number 42 in P12. So top 11 have pulled out almost 2 seconds on the pack behind, but they've done that while paddling like this.
And to what your point of who can make it, who can't, that is the point of interest. Again, we've heard but right around 60 laps is probably the maximum, 60 to 62, depending if you're saving. And Ty Bass pit 15 laps ago. There's 45 to go. That puts him right at lap 60, 61. So theoretically, Ty Bass could make it. He has pitted 3 times. The last time, though, was just for fuel. So he still does have a set of tires. But we know that Jeremy Brown has no chance to make it. We know that Nerney Brown has no chance to make it. So they're hoping on another caution. But as we know, Brad, the later that you go in a race, the longer you're going to run, usually the lower the chance of a caution to come out happens as each lap ticks by.
Yes, and these drivers are not giving each other a break here. I mean, look at this battle that continues to happen, looking back here around the P5 position as they go through P6. Excuse me. Timothy O'Connor Hopkins and Nicholas Deal are not giving each other any breathing room. When you have drivers that are being forced to race very aggressively like this, lap after lap after lap after lap, for many a lap, all it takes is just a light lapse in judgment from one of them to cause a big moment here. As we jump further back here, this is going to be Harmon and Hanlon battling it out. Parasini's already worked his way back up into P13 with Dylan Freeman up ahead here. Dylan Freeman, one of our favorite paint schemes on the track here with the Avril Lavigne car.
Yeah, always something interesting to watch. Sometimes changes it up, and he always loves when we go along with some lyrics. I don't quite have any. I really only know about 3 or 4 songs offhand, so I got nothing to add to that situation. But here comes Zach Nerney to the inside and making a look to the inside of Ty Bass. And here comes Sean Bradley, who hasn't been in the mix relatively recently, but has worked his way through the field and has himself, again, he is in the same kind of spot right now that Ty Bass is in. Still has a set of tires on the wall as well. Pit 20 laps ago. There's a plausible situation that Sean Bradley could make it to the end if it does require us doing that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that comes up. Again, this is a lot of just guesstimation, fingers crossed, hope, wing, and a prayer that is having to be played by some of these drivers right now. It'll be interesting to really see how this plays out to the end. Right now, I can tell you that Nerney has still not cleared Ty Bass as they go side by side down the backstretch.
And how would that be if Zach Nerney's able to put himself in victory circle here today? You're in the Triple Bypass Racing League. Of course, you can see him on Elbows Out on the Wednesday night shows that Brad puts on with Patrick there. But it'd be cool if he can kind of double dip and win a race here on this side of the spectrum. But remember, he is not in the advantageous fuel position, as is Jeremy Brown. So we'll see what happens there as this next 35 laps ticks by. Good run off the corner there for Jeremy Brown. 157 miles an hour down to 100, and we peaked down at about 112. About a 40-mile-an-hour spectrum here at Iowa.
Yeah, interesting to see how he goes here. As we'll hop on the nose of Zach Nerney, and you can see there, and very slow in through turn 4, but now as we go down the front stretch, let's see what this peak speed is, as he's really gunning it, and he's peaking out about 157 is what I saw there as he goes. So it's really interesting to sort of see how things are playing out, as Sean Bradley, it looks like, has decided to take a late race lunge and try to get the lead back. Sean Bradley here has led 59 laps this race, and he'd like to lead a few more and try to lead the last one, the most important one. Looks like he's going to try to go down the inside of Nerney here. Can he make it through? Can he clear? Yes, he's gotten him through there. It seemed he made that pass easier than most have made it today.
And Sean Bradley trying to get the most cars passed award of the race here, because he certainly has been up and down mid-pack, and has himself in a very good position, ahead of Ty Bass, who is one of the most difficult drivers to beat here on the short tracks. And now he'll set his sights on that number 46, and on the stopwatch he is a little bit faster, a tenth and a half faster last time. Let's go back a little bit further in the field. We'll find Michael Hopkins in 5th, battling with Caleb Brown side by side. Ahead of that, you find Ty Bass. To the rear of that, you find Timothy O'Connor.
Yeah, just so many good drivers in a very narrow window here, where if anything happens between anyone, it could definitely spell disaster for all, some, or none, and really just flip this race on its head. It's just a matter of how it goes here. Everyone has settled well into the rhythm at this point to keep this going here, so it's just a matter of keeping the rhythm, keeping the routine. But, as I said, you run many laps like this. Is that 17 all the way up into the wall there. Caleb Brown deciding to take a scenic route as he comes back in behind Timothy O'Connor. Let's see if he picked up any damage there. How's the car going to run? It looks like he's doing pretty okay here so far.
Yeah, that was a pretty light pancake to the fence from what I saw, so wouldn't imagine outside of the track position loss that'll have any over detrimental effect to his vehicle there. Side by side, back of the shot as well, as Iowa Speedway doing what Iowa Speedway does. That's Deal and Parasini. Parasini trying to work himself back up through the field. He's led some laps today, and just hasn't had the circumstances that he needs to play out when they need to play out here. As a sub 30 laps to go, we still have 27 drivers on the lead lap here after over 100 laps of racing.
It's so awesome to see that many drivers still on the lead lap, still running through here as they go. Again, it's battles anywhere you want to look. Out of all these lead lap drivers, you can pick a position, and there's probably a battle. As Parasini is going to go low here. That's McClendon going down another lap here as he goes through. He's trying to work his way around Emmert as they both send their way through. Emmert goes a little bit high through the corner, and that's going to give Parasini the run he needs. I want to jump back here. Dylan Freeman under some pressure right now between Elton Woo as they go through with Ben Harkham ahead. They continue to battle it around, and look at Freeman really working that mid to high line, I'd call it, through 3 and 4. It's not even really a midline. That's a mid-high line as he works his way around here, trying to battle through a little bit further back. This is well back out into P2021. Daniel Williams, Derek Catt. We'll see if the Cat can meow his way forward as Daniel Williams smacks the wall there. Looks like he was trying to crack open an Alani and wasn't looking forward there.
Yeah, not the situation he needs to have happen, but just needs to chug on. And I guess depending who you are, you may be hoping that someone causes a caution, or depending who you are, you may be hoping that it stays green, but if a caution comes out, it might come into this pack that we are watching right now. We have Parasini to the inside of Caleb Brown, and we have side by side ahead of that too. I think that's Ty Bass, who was under fire, I believe, with somebody there. But it does appear Zach Nerney has closed in on Sean Bradley as well, I believe. And Sean Bradley is closing in on Jeremy Brown for the race lead here.
Yeah, watching this gap continue to close in as things go through. Oh, let's see what happened there as Nicholas Deal is all the way down low.
There's something going on with the Coke car, but he'll go back far on the scoring pylon. We'll sort out, he's by himself, by his lonesome there, just behind Parasini and Emmert. And he was headed to the pits. And maybe through the marbles, or just overshot it. Marbles maybe got him sideways. Very dirty down there on the track. But he was looking to make the first green flag stop of the race. Zach Nerney, I believe, in the pits. Again, some of those drivers who didn't stop 2 cautions ago had no chance, no opportunity on fuel, and they could not finish the M&M song.
And Nerney missed his pit box. I don't know if you caught that, so that is detrimental for his run to try to get through here as he goes in, takes 4 tires, and is out. We'll see if he has time to make those 4 tires work to the end here as we jump in. Jeremy Brown up front, Sean Bradley in second. Battles continue along now. I guess it's the game of who's going to pit road, who isn't, as we go through. Ty Bass working his way around Tex Nichols there. The series sponsors he sends his way through, and Michael Hopkins is going through as well. So, I mean, at this point, it's literally just a guessing game of how this one ends up as we're 20 laps to the end here, Corey. This has been a good race here as it goes through. Only about 8 minutes left if this thing stays green.
And this race has flying by. We've only had, 1 caution since the back end of the stage. As here comes Caleb Brown in, and all these drivers who don't have the fuel to go to the end, they're going to take 4 tires. I'm just doing a little recon on my timing sheet here to find what the pit lane time is here. It looks like about 45 seconds, Brad. So that's about 2 laps or so that you're going to lose by making a pit stop, maybe 1 3/4 laps. There's no way that you're going to overcome that. They're going to need, I don't even know what kind of circumstance, they're going to need a caution immediately to have any chance to salvage the race if you have to pit.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, here is Jeremy Brown working his way through the front stretch now. So Nerney was up here battling with him. Where is Zach Nerney at? Well, Zach Nerney's just now coming out of 2. So, I mean, that's a pretty significant margin to have to come up with, plus a lap. So, yeah, they've got to get a little bit lucky here. Things are kind of everywhere. But as we see traffic work through, that's the number 52 of Christopher Melton working his way through here. Sean Bradley's still playing a Houdini game, but trying to appear ahead of Jeremy Brown, and Ty Bass wanting to get through on all of them, but you can see Ty Bass has lost a bit of a gap here as we go into 17 laps to go.
And Sean Bradley, I don't know if he knows the same recon that we know, but I mean, honestly, he doesn't need to fight right now. The race is going to come into his lap. It's going to just work out naturally for him because Jeremy Brown has to pit. He has no option. He has no fuel to take him to the remainder. So Sean doesn't need to pressure the situation. It's going to fall in his lap, but he may not know that.
Yeah, and that's, one of the things. Drivers get a lot of information in the cockpit of their cars going through cockpit. Man, I've been watching a lot of Flight Sim lately. Drivers get a lot of information in that driver's seat as they go through that they have to be able to decipher and play through. And sometimes things like that just sort of slip out of your mind and you miss that little bit of detail that you might have had otherwise as we go through. Matt Parasini has worked his way back up to 4th, by the way, after his little faux pas we saw earlier, as he is going through. It was him and McClendon earlier, if I'm not mistaken, that had that moment. And he's worked his way up to 4th. He's trying to fight for a win here with 14 laps to go. Continuing along, tons of great battles going on right now as we see how this race is going to conclude.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that imminent pit stop. Sean Bradley eventually will take that lead, and the race will be between Bradley and ultimately Ty Bass, and they're separated by about a half second. But Jeremy Brown, maybe he'll luck out and get that magical caution in the next 2 to 4 laps that will keep him up front, but I find that to be very unlikely at present. Coming off turn number 4, will he peel in this time by no? Again, I'll say 63 would be the super ultra mega last chance for him because of a couple caution laps, but he is just praying that something happens to give him a chance. But ultimately, it's just, that's what happens. You wait for a caution, and there it comes. You get it when you need. Out in the Wooster, Jeremy Brown's going to send him a Christmas card, and 4th of July card, a Easter card, a Halloween card. If it's a holiday, Jeremy Brown's sending him a card.
The amount of lifelines that just got thrown from this is a little bit ridiculous. Let's see if we can get an idea of what just happened here. Dial up this PTR TV replay. Well, that is Jeremy Brown. Here's Adam Shaw, who I've got something for. I don't actually see anything for the Wooster, though, so I don't know. I've got the Adam Shaw, got a meatball flag in all of this, so I don't know what might have happened. And
loosey-goosey.
And then just couldn't save it. Comes back out on track. And he's on the racing surface at enough of an angle.
Aren't you so glad that I taught you that exact algorithmic procedure, Brad?
I am, actually. I'm very glad you taught me that, because it's always interesting to sort of know how that works. Pit lane is busy. Let's see how this plays out here. So Jeremy Brown is one to watch here as he goes through. My iRacing is having a fit, it appears. Jeremy Brown didn't pit. Hold on. Whoa. I'm
holding.
So we're live pictures. I'm quadruple sure we're live pictures. Jeremy Brown's still on the track.
Some things make sense in life, and other things don't. This will go in the category of doesn't make sense.
I was told 55 laps on a green flag run, for the record.
Quote Darius Rucker, I got nothing. I got no magic words, not to stop her from leaving, but to explain why he's still on the racetrack.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Okay, well. This confuses me in ways that I cannot explain.
So he obviously knows something that we don't know, even if he can make it to the end. And we're looking at his pit. I mean, Brad and I have the same tools. And actually, if you pull up the pit stop time graphic, not the pit stop time, the pit lane, there's a 2 pit stop timers, one of them, Brad. But it'll say how many pit stops. Yeah, 2 pit stops. It said on the other one. He's made 2 pit stops. They have 3 sets of tires. So we know he has another set of pit tires in there. It's factual. They have 3 in the session. And we also know the fuel load. I mean, chat, if you know something that we don't, please make it make sense for us, because we are more confused than insert a reason of someone being confused. But if you thought Sean Bradley had the race wrapped up, his case for that happening has gotten exponentially easier here, as he had a 9-second pit stop, so I think that's a 2-tire stop for Sean Bradley. 4 tires are going to be back with Emmert there in the 7th position, so this is going to be interesting. to say it nicely here. But the pace car is going to pull in. Will it be for the final time? I'm going to guess no, but we'll find out together. Into the unknown restart zone. Green flag in the air. And how is this going to work out?
Well, Jeremy Brown has the run to start it, and Sean Bradley there in second, Hopkins in third. How quickly, though, will Jeremy Brown get past on 62-lap old tires? Well, we're going to find out here. Can he defend for 7 laps? I'm going to go ahead and give you a resounding NO spells no. Down the inside, he is going to get pinned around the outside. Sean Bradley and Ty Bass into the wall. Well then.
Now, what does this do for Jeremy Brown? I feel like his bet is made at this point, but we'll backtrack that and sort out what happened to that 2 car who we thought had a chance to win this race in the middle sectors, but obviously that has gone astray. Jeremy Brown appears to be hitting, I believe, here, but there is that contact with somebody there.
Yeah, that was him trying to work his way around Tex. Going through, and let's see who all's in the pits right now. Jeremy Brown.
No, I thought he was pitting. He fell back on the telemetry down to like 5th or 6th for a brief moment, but has since regained his positions here, which will probably come close to a green-white checker. 5 to go. Best case scenario is 3 to go. Worst case scenario is we go green-white checker.
Yeah, this is... You know what? If Jeremy Brown pulls this one off and manages even a top 5 finish, I might have to give him the good old PTR TV Wendy's not real gift card. But it is a real gift card, but it's just not real redeemable in stores. Please don't try to do such a thing. But he might deserve that if he can pull this one off.
But I don't... If he makes it on fuel, that is impressive, but it still doesn't...
It makes no sense.
Questions. Yes.
And chat has went extremely quiet at this point, so I think the entirety of YouTube chat is in the same position we're in of what the hello Pedro is Jeremy Brown doing. I mean, if he finishes top 3, we're going to get to ask him. If he doesn't finish top 3, I mean, I'm going to ask him anyways.
Yeah, we might have to go off the beaten trail here, and because again, we from the broadcast position, we don't know exact tire statistics. We have to guess based on memory and based on the telemetry that tells us how many times they've made pit stops. Excuse me. Sometimes it'll say, like William Emmert, he has had 5 trips into pit road. So that would be a guessing game to tell us how many times he has come to the pits and changed tires. We don't know. We would imagine he's used them all, but there's no factual way to know. In the case of Jeremy Brown, it tells us he has only came to pit road twice. So we definitively know that 3 sets of tires minus 2 pit stops means there's an extra set of tires. So why he has not taken it, outside of just a glitch in iRacing, is just absolutely baffling to us. But we are... Well, here's 1 to go. So this is going to be a green-white checker, which to my league knowledge and remembering knowledge, whatever, I think there's 2 green-white checkers on the table if we need to queue those up. Come down the back straightaway here, Sean Bradley, and then again look right behind Sean Bradley to Jeremy Brown, well, to Michael Hopkins. Hopkins choosing that outside lane. Well, actually, he's to the outside lane. Sean Bradley choosing the outside lane as well here, coming into that restart zone. 2 laps to go. On the loud pedal is Bradley. And Hopkins to follow. Here comes Timothy O'Connor. Going to try to take Brown 3 wide. Brown goes for the block. We have somebody in the wall back there. Not sure who that is, but it looks like we're going to make it to the white flag. Jeremy Brown has a traffic break. Somebody is loose into the wall, but We're coming off of the corner. We do take the white. We will finish this thing under green flag conditions. Sean Bradley in the number 77 Seaview Worldwide Radio car is going to come off of turn number 2. Started the race on the front of the field, and he'll come through 3 and 4, get himself a win on the season. Sean Bradley is going to win here in the cornfields of Iowa. O'Connor and Hopkins finishing out our top 3. Brad? That is our race lineup here. I'm not hearing Brad here on my system here. I don't know if he died or if I'm broken here, but either way, full congrats go to Sean Bradley as he'll burn it down here on the front straightaway.
Can you hear me now?
There you are. Yeah.
That was weird. Everything looked fine on my side, but you just straight up couldn't hear me. That makes no sense to me, but hey, neither here nor there. That was a wild run there to the end. I thought I was talking, and you didn't hear anything I said. I was talking about how Jeremy Brown was a cork in a bottle, but good on Jeremy Brown to pull out a P12. So, yeah, let's go through our race results here as it stands and get this going through. Sean Bradley, Timothy O'Connor, Michael Hopkins, Matt Parasini, William Emert, Kyle Dewey, Matt Harmon in P7, Dylan Freeman in 8th, Derek Catt P9, and Donald Ristow rounds out the top 10 here.
We'll back 11 through 20. We'll find Daniel Williams. Jeremy Brown falls back to P12 in that interesting decision-making. We have Corner in 13th, Benson, a quiet day in 14th, Shaw in 15th, Michael Seymour in 16th, Ty Bass spun back to 17th, the Wooster brought out that late race caution in 18th, Caleb Brown, and Zach Nerney. That's not commensurate with how he ran, but he has to settle for 20th.
Moving on from there, it's Keith Hanlon, 21st, Matthew Robinson, 22nd, the series sponsor, Tex Nichols, 23rd, Al Corey, the boss man, in P24, John the Naj Crutchley, 25th, Nicholas Deal will deal in P26, Mark Jarrell, Steve McClendon, Ben Harcum, Christopher Melton round this out, and then just to round out the rest of the results, drivers who did not make it to the end, Tyler Ruyelis, Ryan Hyatt, the Corgi, Alaka, Herzog, Fisher, Gresh, and John Barton, the 37 cars who took on this race here, Corey.
Yeah, that will conclude that. And our lineup here in the 175 lapper brought to you by Brian Cooper. But we'll head ourselves down to Victory Circle, and we'll try to scoop ourselves up a race winner in the form of Sean Bradley, the number 77, pulling him into Victory Circle here. Well, you started from the pole, you won the race, Sean, but that's not as easy as it sounds on paper. You had a lot of battling to do up and down through the field, and then obviously that late race caution put a potential wrench into things, man. Just kind of summarize your night for us, I suppose.
Yeah, no, they had some great battles with Parasini and then Jeremy Brown at the end, and the decision to come in, and I took 2 tires. That's what put me in a really good spot. I lined up right beside Jeremy again and just fired off, and that was all I needed. It was great to get that Seaview car in victory lane, man.
Did you know the situation with Sean, did you know the situation with yourself? Did you know the situation with Jeremy there? Because to our knowledge, he had a set of tires, and when that caution came out, he was going to have to pit. That caution came out and kind of gave a reprieve. And were you surprised to see him stay out?
Very surprised. I thought because he stayed out that I just made a big mistake, but I saw people coming with me, and I'm 99% sure he had tires in the pits. I mean, he ran long on the first stint. There's no way that he didn't have tires. So I maybe it was just asleep. Maybe it was just luck. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it works out in your favor, man, getting that Seaview car in victory lane. As you said, we'll look forward 1 week, and we will head out a short track season back to 1.5 miles to the Kansas Speedway. What kind of confidence do we take there?
My bread and butter, man. 1.5 mile cookie cutters. That's I'm usually pretty terrible at these kind of special tracks like Iowa. So if I can carry those momentum into 1.5 miles, I'm pretty happy with that.
All right, watch out. Someone's going to be going back to back, man. So congrats. Go celebrate, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Cheers. Thanks.
And now, Brad, we'll catch up with our second place finisher on the day with Mr. Timothy O'Connor.
Timothy O'Connor, and the O stands for oh boy, a podium. Second place, man. How's it feel?
Pretty good, man. I didn't expect to finish up there. I was running top 10 most of the race, but just couldn't seem to keep it from shredding the right front on those long runs. So
Yeah, I know right front was a big deal for everyone. I know that you were running a good battle through all the way around, man, but looking kind of at the race as a whole, do you think you might have had that little bit extra to go after Sean Bradley if there was a little more time?
yeah, I think if I didn't restart behind Jeremy on old tires, I might have had a shot. Felt like I could get some speed out of it for a couple laps. It was just kind of saving it on the long run that was hurting me.
Yeah, and kind of looking at next week, man, how do we feel about next week coming up? Are we feeling confident? What are we thinking going in?
Yeah, I need to practice a little bit more for next week. Didn't get as much as I wanted for Iowa today, but we'll see what we can put together in this 119 camp.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to watch, man. Congratulations on the P2. Great to see you up front, and hopefully we'll talk to you more as the season goes on, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate you guys. Thanks for the broadcast.
Thanks. And Corey, that's going to give you third place Michael Hopkins if he is around. Let's see. There he is. And yeah.
All right, Michael Hopkins started fourth, finished in third, had yourself in the top 10 in the majority of the race, but obviously that strategy got thrown afoot there with that couple guys who needed to pit and then that late race caution that gave everybody the reprieve there. To summarize how that last restart went for you and how you got yourself in third.
Yeah, right there at the end of the race, was kind of hoping it would stay green. Honestly, I think that yellow might have worked to my benefit. Restarted and really that last restart, you just go all out. Timothy got around me. He had a rocket on the short run, and I just didn't have short run speed. I had the long run speed. But yeah, still worked out. Finished third. I'm not going to be disappointed with that at all.
Absolutely. And as we all get used to this updated version of Iowa on the service with these very narrow grip lanes that are available with the repave, full race here, 145 laps. How are you feeling about this new version of Iowa after a full race on it?
Yeah, it's definitely tricky on the tires. I think the name of the game today, especially leading into that last yellow, was, tire preservation. And I think that last run, if it had gone green, was about 68 or so laps, and about 60 laps, and I think that would have pushed everyone to the edge there. And I think that's why we saw some people pitting early.
Yep. And now next week we short track back-to-backs. Now we're back to the speedways, at least for 1 week. Heading to Kansas. What's your confidence level heading back to 1.5 miles?
Yeah, I mean, I know how to hold it open wide. So the issue is I think everyone else does as well. So we'll just see how it plays out.
Absolutely, man. We'll see what you can do, but good job getting that 10 car under the podium here today, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for what you guys do for us.
No problem, man. So that'll wrap up an evening here on PTR TV, our triple bypass series at this updated Iowa. I don't know, Brad, we didn't even check the caution count here today, but you said 4, and I think it wasn't too far off. 7. I guess it didn't feel like 7 though.
Yeah, no, it didn't feel like 7, but it was 7, 3 leaders, 8 lead changes. Fastest lap goes to O'Connor with a 22.659. So yeah, no, that wasn't bad at all. Actually a lot of fun going through. Iowa produced some good racing, and I'm kind of excited to see where Kansas takes us next week.
Absolutely, and we will actually be back here at Iowa. One more event on Tuesday. That'll be for the ARCA series. Brad, be on standby because I don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday. But we'll be back on Tuesday, and then Brad will be back on Wednesday with elbows out, and then we will be back again on Sunday to take you to the Kansas Speedway. But that's going to be Corey and Brad signing out of the booth. Have a great night. We will catch you next time.
See you.